The film begins with a scene in the forest. We see a sloth hanging from a tree by the river when suddenly, a crocodile attacks. A few seconds later, the water turns red with blood. It seems like the crocodile might have eaten the sloth, but surprisingly, a little while later, the sloth emerges from the water. He somehow escapes the crocodile's attack. But then he can't escape a hunter, who shoots him with a stun gun, making him unconscious. The hunter puts him in a bag and takes him away. Meanwhile, we see that the crocodile that attacked the sloth is now injured and dead. This means the sloth was not an innocent animal but a bloodthirsty one. Anyway, after this scene, we see two college students. One of them, Emily, is the main character of our movie. Emily's friend Madison is with her. Emily is addicted to social media and keeps uploading pictures repeatedly. Madison doesn't like this at all and gets angry, leaving in frustration. After she left, Emily sees a dog and starts taking selfies with it. The dog's owner praises Emily, saying she has a soft heart and loves animals. They both take pictures with the dog and Emily uploads one to social media. They have some conversations about social media, and Emily notices a picture of a sloth on the man's account, which impresses her. This man tells her that such an animal can be kept as a pet and that having one can quickly increase social media followers. He gives her his card and says to contact him if she's interested before leaving. Next, we see Emily in Madison's college. Here, we meet a girl named Sydney, who has won 3 elections in her college dorm. This time, she's running for house president again. Everyone admired her for her beauty and stylishness, but they were also intimidated by her pride and wealth, coming from a powerful family. When Emily returns to her room, she senses someone behind her and reacts instinctively, only to discover that she has accidentally hit her own friend, who had intended to surprise her. Anyway, now we meet the warden of Emily's hostel, who informs her that Emily's mother was once the house president of this college. Encouraged by this legacy, the warden suggests that Emily should consider running for the position herself. Emily knows she might not win against Sydney initially, but she aspires to become the house president in the future. Motivated by this goal, she decides to participate in the election. Now Emily saw only one way to win the election: becoming as popular as Sydney. And speaking of popularity, it reminds her of a guy who once mentioned that if she wanted to increase her social media followers, she could get a sloth. Since this idea was quite unique, Emily decided to contact him and go ahead with buying the sloth. He told Emily a location, and the next day, she will go there to take the sloth. After the scene cuts, we see the man preparing to take the sloth out of its cage for a walk. However, the sloth attacks him with its claws, resulting in his death. The following morning, when Emily arrives at the man's house, she notices that he isn't answering his phone. The house appears disheveled, and there's no sign of the man. Instead, Emily is unnerved by the sight of the sloth, which seemed quite frightened. That's why Emily, without telling anyone, took the sloth and left quietly. When she returned to her hostel with the sloth, she noticed Sydney chatting with some girls. Sydney became upset seeing someone campaigning against her in the election. Sydney's anger grew when he saw Emily, and in a fit of rage, she followed her and threw the box from her hand down the stairs. Inside the box was the sloth, and Sydney was unaware of this. When the sloth emerged, all the girls found it incredibly cute. Emily quickly cradled the sloth in her lap. Sydney reminded her of the hostel rules, stating no pets were allowed. In response, Emily proposed a new rule. If more people voted for her, she could keep the sloth. Many girls voted in favor of letting Emily keep the sloth in the hostel. Upon hearing the support from the girls, Emily is thrilled. She announces her candidacy for the house president election, which greatly angers Sydney. However, Sydney is unable to act against her due to the sloth increasing Emily's popularity. Madison, Emily's friend, disapproves of the sloth. She advises Emily to release the animal back into the jungle, believing it won't adapt well to hostile life. But Emily disregards Madison's advice as well, because the sloth continues to boost her social media following rapidly, making Emily's path to victory in the election seem easier. Meanwhile, another friend of Emily provides her with tablets for the sloth, ensuring it remains calm around people. Sydney instructs her friend to take Emily's sloth far away from the hostel, hoping to diminish Emily's popularity and increase her own chances of winning the election. We see Emily giving the medicine to the sloth. After it calms down, she prepares to introduce it to people and then gets ready herself. Unbeknownst to her, the sloth starts operating her computer as if it were human, understanding everything. It accesses Emily's profile and sees the picture of the man who had captured it from the forest. Enraged, the sloth reacts intensely to this discovery. The sloth spits out the tablet in its mouth. Emily gets ready and then comes out. The sloth behaves normally in front of her. Emily carries the sloth around and brings him to the party. Everyone at the party loves it. Meanwhile, the girl Sydney tasked with taking the sloth away approaches Emily and asks if she can hold the sloth in her lap for a while because she finds it very cute. Emily agrees and hands the sloth over to her. Upon Sydney's signal, the girl takes the sloth away from the party and releases it back into the forest. Sydney's plan was successful, and that girl had returned to the hostel. However, unbeknownst to them, the sloth did not return to the forest but instead made its way back to the hostel building. While crossing the road, the sloth narrowly avoided being hit by a car. Eventually, it reached the hostel building and climbed up to the window of the girl who had initially left it near the forest. The sloth cunningly emptied all its anxiety tablets into the girl's glass. Despite appearing ordinary, the sloth demonstrated a clever and vengeful nature, seeking retribution against those who mistreated it. The sloth sought revenge against the girl who had wronged it. When she unwittingly drank the sloth's anxiety tablets, she collapsed. She began seeing the sloth around her, initially thinking it was an illusion. However, the sloth was really there, moving stealthily and terrifying her. Eventually, it attacked, using its sharp claws to fatally kill her. As the party ended and everyone headed back due to an impending rainstorm, Emily searched for her sloth. Sydney approached her and mentioned, "You're looking for Sloth, aren't you?" Sarah left him in the forest. Hearing this news, Emily felt deeply saddened. She even went outside to search for it, but in the heavy rain and darkness, she couldn't do much. Eventually, she returned to her room feeling hopeless and cried for Sloth. Suddenly, to her surprise, she saw Sloth alive in her room. Upon seeing Sloth, Emily feels relieved and quickly embraces him, unaware that Sloth has recently killed a girl. In the darkness, Emily doesn't notice that Sloth's hands are stained with blood. The strange thing was that a member of their group had gone missing, but they didn't pay any attention to it. Time passed, and Sloth continued to live among them. One day, during a basketball game, a girl accidentally drops the basketball on Sloth. The sloth catches the basketball like a human and angrily tears it apart with its claws. Sloth became increasingly enraged with the girl. Later that night, he goes and murders this girl as well. Anyone who wronged the sloth or any girl whom the sloth didn't like, it would go and murder them, electrocuting someone or attacking them with its claws. Strangely, these murders went unnoticed because Sloth would hide the bodies afterward. Moreover, he would update the victims' Instagram accounts to suggest they were going away, ensuring no one searched for them. Madison notices that Emily's social media followers are increasing every day, but she senses something amiss. She decides to talk to Emily's other friend, who is sitting nearby, and here the sloth was also present. The sloth opens a beer bottle and, after drinking it, burps just like a human in front of these people. Emily and the other girl pay absolutely no attention to this, even though Madison had noticed that this was very abnormal behavior for an animal. Emily gets up and heads indoors to fetch some items. Taking advantage of the situation, Madison plans to escape with Sloth. She intends to either leave Sloth in the forest or at a shelter. She wanted the sloth not to be with her friend Emily. But just in time, Emily comes and sees it. She caught Madison in the act. Unaware that her friend had her best interests at heart, Emily argued fiercely with Madison. During their fight, the sloth takes Emily's phone out of her pocket and throws it onto the road. As Madison bent down to retrieve her phone, a car accidentally hit her, causing a serious accident that Sloth intentionally caused. Sloth watched from a distance as the car approached, knowing that when Madison reached for her phone, the accident would occur. Madison was severely injured and hospitalized, but thankfully, she survived. Seeing her friend in such a condition, Emily felt deeply saddened. She promised Madison that she would resolve everything and planned to place Sloth in a shelter after the election, which was scheduled for that night. However, before the election took place, Sloth killed 2 more girls. Using a girl's cell phone, Sloth discovered the hospital's location where Madison was admitted, intending to kill her. Outside, Sloth steals Emily's car and drives off to the hospital. He was driving the car better than any human. Meanwhile, no one notices the car's disappearance or the absence of other individuals due to the busy election proceedings. All the girls, dressed in red gowns, anxiously await the election results. As the votes are tallied, Sydney appears poised to win, but suddenly Emily emerges victorious with a margin of 4 votes. She is overjoyed with the outcome. Conversely, Sydney feels jealous of her success. After the scene transitions, we see the hospital where Sloth removes Madison's oxygen mask to attempt to kill her with a pillow. Just before Madison succumbs, a nurse enters the room. The sloth had gone under the bed to hide from the nurse. Just in time, the sister removes the pillow from Madison's mouth and puts her oxygen mask back on, saving Madison's life once again. On the other hand, Sydney seethed with anger in the hostel. As she goes to her friend's room to share her sorrow of defeat, she finds her friend's dead body in the bathroom. Horrified, she screams loudly, but her cries go unheard by others. Downstairs, Emily and her friend were celebrating their victory, discussing the missing people and wondering where everyone was going after leaving the hostel. While chatting, Emily thought about going to her room to fetch some things. As soon as Emily went upstairs, she heard Sydney's scream. When she arrived at the room while following the sound, she saw that the sloth was sitting on Sydney's head. Without wasting time, Emily marked something on the sloth's head to knock it unconscious and then removed it from Sydney's head. Now convinced of Madison's warnings about Sloth's danger, the 2 girls sought refuge in the restroom where they discovered the dead body of another girl. Upon seeing the body, Sydney screams in fear again, but Emily quickly silences her with a slap and says, "It's not time to panic but to save ourselves." Realizing Sloth had left the room, They cautiously emerged, armed with the toilet lid for protection. But upon seeing that the sloth was sitting on the chair with its legs crossed, Sydney retreats fearfully to the restroom and locks the door, leaving Emily vulnerable. When Sloth attacked Emily, she used the toilet lid as a weapon, striking Sloth hard. Sloth appeared to be knocked out, but then he stood up again. Emily hurried to warn the other girls about Sloth's danger, but they were engrossed in the party. Tragically, Sloth took advantage of the situation. Before anyone could react, he caused a fatal incident by placing an electric wire in the water of the washroom, resulting in the deaths of everyone present. Only Emily's third friend managed to escape from the hostel. Meanwhile, Sloth confronted the intoxicated warden. Upon first seeing the sloth, she defends herself for a while, successfully avoiding harm. However, the sloth eventually overpowers her, stabbing her abdomen with its large nails and killing her. The scene cuts, and we see Emily's friend who is using Instagram. He notices one after another the pictures of hostel girls, each with a sloth in the background. All the girls have their eyes closed, suggesting something suspicious. To investigate further, he quickly rushes to the hostel. Upon arriving, he found a scene of chaos and devastation. Now he wanted to save Emily, so they both decide to team up and make the decision to kill the sloth together. Emily's third friend, armed with a sword, intended to strike Sloth. Now the three of them join forces and move forward as a team to kill the sloth. As soon as the girl begins attacking the sloth with a sword, we see that it easily dodges each strike as if it also knows martial arts. Eventually, it defeats her and successfully takes her sword away. Before it could harm the girl with the sword, a wounded Madison, who had been admitted to the hospital, arrives here with a gun. She shot Sloth from behind, and he collapsed. Everyone believed Sloth was dead. Madison and Emily's other friend were also injured, so it was necessary to take them to the hospital. The boy took on the task of getting them to the hospital, while Emily looked back to confirm whether the sloth was dead or not. She wasn't sure. She wanted to stab it herself with a large rod. Before she could stab it, the sloth turned away and quickly left the scene. Emily's friends had gone to the hospital, leaving her alone in the hostel. She felt responsible for everything that had transpired and knew she had to take action. Now, wielding her sword, Emily was shouting loudly at the sloth. Just then, Sydney descends the stairs in a hurry. The sloth is perched on her, its large claws poised menacingly at her neck, as if ready to strike. Gesturing, the sloth signals Emily to throw away her sword. As soon as Emily tosses the sword, the sloth jumps towards her. Just before the sloth could harm her, Emily shoots and kills it with a concealed gun she had. This time, her attack was successful. The sloth was on the brink of death, and before dying, it gestured towards a painting of a forest nearby, indicating its desire to return home to the forest. However, it was too late. The sloth had died. After its death, they decide to name the hostel Slotherhouse. Sometime later, we see that the atmosphere in the hostel has returned to its previous lively state, with no one afraid to stay there anymore. Perhaps no one knows how many murders occurred here before. The last scene of the story shows us a forest where a whole group has come for a tour. A girl takes a picture with a sloth, signaling that the story ends here.